pricing can do a good job in helping you to sit down and know exactly where a product or service is in the market. So competitive pricing plays a role. It plays a role as to how much money you're going to make. It also plays a role in identifying which customer segment that you're going after. So we'll look at this in a couple of ways. Once upon a time, there was a company called Miller Beer. I am not into beer whatsoever, so I was not interested in the market, except for the fact that we had several different things out there. And one of them was it was a cheap beer on the East Coast, and they wanted to reposition their market position from being a cheap beer that was marginally profitable into being a high-end beer that had a good sized profit margin. They relabeled their product and introduced it to part of the country where they weren't, which was the West Coast, and they decided to relabel themselves the champagne of bottled beer. Well, champagne and beer are totally unrelated, but people got it that use the word champagne that's high end, so they call it champagne of bottled beer. So they had that, and they made a lot of money. They repositioned themselves from cheap to the high-end market of the beer market. Now, that being said, usually that beer market is not all that different between the cheap and the expensive, but they did reposition themselves and they made a lot of money in the process. So when you're looking at the aspect of pricing, you want to achieve a good return on the investment or profit. You want to build traffic. You want to achieve greater market share. You want to create an image. And sometimes you want to also include some social objectives, which is really more critical now than it ever has been before. Cost-based pricing is you're going to measure the cost it takes to produce the item, and then you want to make certain you're making a profit above that. Demand-based pricing, it's a matter of it satisfies the customer needs and a profit things. So sometimes you may be pricing it well over your actual cost. There's a lot of different pricing strategies. I don't know about you. Sometimes when I drive through LA, you'll see all kinds of different things of going out for business, not going out of business, going out for business. Well, the same sign's been in the window for 15 years. Okay, and they want to give them thing that, well, with bargain hunters, come on in here, you can buy a suit for $57. Well, the same suit's been hanging on the rack since 1917. So that being said, you have all that aspect going on. What's going on out there? That's a pricing strategy focusing in on the bargain hunting customer. We have Groupon. I was talking to one gal in the service industry, and she says, "I'll never use Groupon. That's not the kind of clientele I want." Well, how many clients do you have? Because I need to get more clients. I said, well, maybe this is a good strategy to get more clients in. So they start, well, I don't want the, okay, that's cute, whatever. Okay, so the pricing strategies will vary by the person's taste, by the company. It depends what the product is, but there's strategies to get different parts of the market. Sometimes you want to sit down and get price leadership that's out there. And sometimes you want to sit down and have competition-based pricing to really focus in and try to capture the same market that your competitors are capturing as well. So price leadership, sometimes the dominant companies in the area, they will set the price. They'll set that benchmark out over there, and you got to match it or be near it or just a little bit below it because of the fact that they're the leader, and you want to be sitting there capturing part of their market, maybe with something different. But all the time, whenever you set a price, you need to do a break-even analysis first. I write this down because it's always shows up on a test, but also this is part of real life and the world of business. Total fixed costs divided by your variable cost. Here's actually the formula in a mathematical model. Total fixed cost, and then you figure out what the price is per unit, and then how much it costs to make that one unit. Here's an example. Fixed cost is $200,000. The variable cost is $2 an item, and you sell for $4. What would be your break-even point? So the break-even point is 4 minus 2. Okay, and then you take that number, which is $2, and you divide the $200,000 by that. Geez, it's 100,000 units. For a break even, you'll have to sell a minimum of 100,000 units. If you sell 200,000 units, then you're making a lot of money. But if you're just breaking even to get paying for your cost, you must sell 100,000 units. If you don't, you're going to lose money. Break even analysis, know what that is. Here's some strategies I want you to know. Price skimming strategy. When we talked about the aspect of the product life cycle, we normally use the skimming price strategy for those brand new products coming out where you can put an outrageously high price because it may cost you an outrageously large amount to break into a new market. But that said, and you're out there and people are willing to pay whatever price because you have the latest, hottest item out over there. They're willing to pay an outrageous fee to be the first under block to have it. Now, that said, those people, we call them the innovators in the market, you want to capture them because they are major influencers. They may not be major influencers in social media, but you know those strange people that sleep in sleeping bags outside of stores. I have to be the very first one to get the new version of whatever that company might have. They sleep in a sleeping bag. We think of them as weird people, except whenever we want to get into more technology or our phones go bad and they keep on buying the latest cell phone, we call them up. So it's kind of cute that we sit there and say, oh, they're really weird, except we always trust them because we know that they know their stuff. Then you have the penetration strategy where you price it low enough to squeeze out the market and crush your opponents. So penetration strategy is good if you're a giant company and you want to destroy competition. Not very nice, except it works. And then you have everyday low pricing. That's, you may recognize that that is the motto of Walmart. And by the way, Walmart is the #1 world retailer. And it's nice to make fun of Walmart shoppers, except here's the simple truth. They're big, gigantic, and millions of people go to Walmart on a regular basis. Price skimming, penetration strategy, everyday low pricing, and here's two more, high and low pricing. You want to set your stuff to be everyday low pricing when you have a sale. So you have that low pricing, you jack up the price 20, 30, 40% above that for regular sales and put part of your store on sale for everyday low pricing. Then you have psychological pricing, which is kind of a weird thing. For some reason, it is us when we pick up our phone and we say, oh, over here, this is $4.99. So we look at our phone, we look at $4.99, and we think, whoa, what a bargain. And it only costs $4. It doesn't cost $4. It's 1 penny short of $5, but we see it as $4 because 99 cents kind of goes blank. But it's interesting, a couple studies have been done on this. If you have an item for $4.99 on your phone and another one that's also on there, if there's two items, we tend to round up rather than round down. If we have one item on there, we tend to round down. So in other words, if you got one item for $4.99 and another item for $5.99, and they're both on the face of your phone, we tend to say one's $5, one's $6. If it's only one item that's $4.99, we tend to round down and say it's $4. It's interesting. And so the psychological pricing does work. So pay attention to that as you're going through pricing your different goods. Sometimes people don't care because they want to have the image. I want to be exclusive and desirable, like Jimmy Choo shoes. Okay, well, that's something totally different. It's a different type of pricing. To some extent, when you pay an outrageous price for something on these highly specialized items, you don't care what the price is. You might, after $2,000 or $3,000 for a pair of shoes, except for the fact that adds to the elegance and the mystique that, oh, I have something highly desirable that you can't possibly afford. So there is a market there for outrageously high prices because people are willing to do that for something that is very exclusive in the process. To make certain you're targeting your pricing to fit the market that you're going after. Other aspects over there, you're looking at demand-oriented pricing based on consumer demands. You'll see if you ever go to a movie theater, you'll have sometimes tickets that are higher for one movie than another because of the fact they think they'll have a higher attendance for that. So you have that aspect of it. So you're looking at the aspect of what, when they start comparing prices, is it something really that's relevant? So the non-price competition, you're looking at attributes other than the price itself. The product images, like the Jimmy Choo shoes, like Miller High Life beer, like the comfort that you have, like that. And that's when you come to Hoka shoes. Hoka shoes are outrageously priced much higher than a regular tennis shoe, except for those of us that have knee problems or foot problems or on our feet all day long. They feel that those shoes are worth paying the extra money because they want to have that extra soft cushion on every step they take. It's called comfort, style, Jimmy Choo's, convenience. I want to have it and I want to have it now. I'm willing to pay money to have an airship from whatever country to my front doorstep. Get durability and the services that come with it. So when it comes to competitive pricing, the consumer is ever aware of the pricing. They're paying attention out there and they understand all the implications of pricing. Okay, so it determines the access and at some level, the quality perception of it. So pricing has an impact on market penetration, distribution, and it all is part of having a good capitalist society where people are getting value, the value that they perceive as worthwhile and conveyed by the price they're willing to pay. Take care.